ओ, ओ, ओ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। हरि ओम। So we'll continue from last week, and the next week we won't have the class. There will be break, but this will continue from last week. So again, before we continue, the background. So Ramayana is Itihas. Itihas means as the events has happened, that is Itihas. But what we listen these days, when Valmiki ji wrote, it was Itihas, because he wrote what is happening, the events. But what we are listening is more Itihas, of course, it is our Itihas, but more than that, it has become Katha now. And there is a slight difference between Itihas is just happening of event as it is. There is a timeline. But Katha has a bhav. Katha has a bhav in the sense the narrator who is narrating Katha, Tulsidas ji or many acharyas, they did what we are reading. And that listener, they are connected to the character in the Katha. Like simple example, when we go for a movie in theater, for 3 hours we just become part of the movie. We may even cry if some scene comes like that, or we feel, oh, why it is happening to this person like this? This is not good. In movie, we know it is small movie, but we get involved. So Katha is like that. So, and that's called, it is Ram Katha. So when we listen to Ram Katha, we become part of this Katha. It is not separately something we're watching. And that's the joy. And that is the reason all these years, this tradition of Katha has been continued, or it will forever remain. As Valmiki ji said in the beginning in the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, that this Katha will forever be there. And it is true, where what he said, it is true. So actually Narad ji said to him that what you're going to compose, it is going to remain forever. And that was true. So it is Itihas and Ram Katha both together. And the second part, it is Arsh Granth. Arsh Granth means the one which is where rishis are, the teaching of rishis are there. That is Arsh. Arsh word has come from rishi. That's why our teachings are called Arsh Vidya, given by rishis. So here also, Valmiki himself is a rishi. And if you look at Ram, Bhagwan Ram is going, he's meeting Bharadwaj rishi and Matang rishi and Agastya rishi and all these rishis. And so all these conversations happening, the teaching, it is coming from rishis. So it is Arsh Granth also. It is not just Ramayana ki koi script academic hai, we are doing PhD. This is Arsh Granth for us. Tulsidas ji call it Manas Sarovar. That's what Tulsidas ji's version is, Ramcharit Manas. He goes one step behind. Like Arsh Granth to hai, but it is Manas Sarovar. It is in my consciousness, my Manas, my Man, that whole Katha, the Ramcharit. That's why he titled it Ramcharit Manas instead of Ramayana. Same thing, Ramayana is a journey, but it is a Katha. So that's it. And any Katha, any teaching, there is a falshruti. Whatever we hear, there is something here in the sense. Phal means some transformation will take place when we listen to this shruti or katha. So Valmiki ji says very clearly, if you read this Ramayana, so it is not just a itihas or a story. It is dharma artha kam mokshanam sadhanam. It is the instrument. It is the means to achieve both dharma artha kam. I think our goal is to work on dharma artha kam. Moksha is in Bhagwan's hand. So if we do right dharma artha kam, then moksha will happen. So we don't have to worry about moksha. We don't have to do anything for moksha. And then he puts the condition there. Shrotavyam Bhaktya, the one who listened to this Ramayana story or Itihas or Katha now, Shrotavyam Bhaktya, he listened with Bhakti Bhav. And it is all, so what we are, these days we are more emphasis on Bhakti Bhav, because if we reach to a level where Valmiki ji was there, then yeah, it could be. But now we are in Kali Yuga, and so this time it is. So I think he was right that time itself, that if you listen to or if you contemplate, same parampara, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, then it is an instrument or means for moksha. Moksha means freedom, freedom from the insecurity, freedom from the limitations of the body. There is no separate freedom. We all feel so limited because of the body, a limited being. You become unlimited. Tattvamasi. So that's what. So, and then Tulsidas ji has said the same thing in a very different way. He says, Phalashruti. What happens if you listen to this katha? Ramcharit Manasam idam bhaktya. He says, if you listen to this Ramcharit Manam with bhaktya, with again, same condition, with bhakti, with that devotion, that it is my Bhagwan's katha. Gayanti. And Gayanti means going deeper into that. Now, not only listening, this is not we are just listening to katha. We are going deeper into this. Deeper into the charitra of Ram, charitra of Sita ji, charitra of Lakshman, charitra, many other charitra will come. Many charitra in this. So we have to go deeper into that. And what happens? The Phalshruti, if you do this, you say, Ye manava sansar patangah kirne nadhayanti. He's comparing Surya, and then sun rays are when the hot sun, they'll burn if you go out. So sansar is like that. Sansar is like a hot sun. And the kirne or whatever sufferings of sansar or problems of sansar, we all know that, right? We all suffer. And dayanti means they burn actually. And okay, they burn skin, Surya, but in this case, we become weak. We in simple modern term, we can say stress, anxiety, all these are burns, sunburns. So Tulsidas ji say that ye manava, the people who listen to this go deeper into this Ramcharitmanas, ghor kirne na dhayanti. These rays, hot rays, or this suffering of this world, they don't impact this person. Again, very clear message. When we Ramayana, there is nowhere any of our Shastras say that if you read Ramayana, your problems will go away. It is based on Prarabdha. We'll see Bhagwan Ram has Prarabdha too. That's why this whole katha is there. He is also going through his own Prarabdha. But how do I navigate through Prarabdha without being disturbed? That is Nadayanti. And that is Phalashruti. So Itihas, Katha, then Phalshruti. And third is, our Shastra says that you are, who is entitled for this, the transformation or Phalshruti. And Tulsidas ji very nicely put, Ram Katha ke tehi adhikari, jinke sat sangati ati pyari. Those people are entitled. Adhikari means not rights. So there is a difference. Adhikar word has very different English trans. Sometimes people say, no, it is not about rights. It is about entitlement. So those are the people entitled for Ram Katha, jinke sat sangati ati pyari. They love satsang. And what we are doing is satsang. Any good thing, anything which reveals to me sat. Sat means satya is not, but basically the truth, we can say in simple term. Anything which reveals me the truth, that is satsang. We are together sitting here, basically we are just, Ram Bhagwan means truth, satya. So anytime it helps me to realize the truth, that is satsang. So Tulsidas says, jinke satsangat ati pyari. The people who love satsang, they are entitled to enjoy the Phalshruti of Ram Katha. So that is the standard for any. So every time I read, I repeat, and that's why we are repeating here too. So let's go back very quickly, recap, and then we'll move forward. So last time we saw Bhagwan Ram went to Vanvas, and all the Ayodhya people, they joined. They said, we want to come too. And in fact, there was a statement, Vashishji told Kaikai, that Kaikai, even I am going too. Vashisht means Rajguru. And you are going to remain this in Ayodhya alone because everybody is going. Now you rule, you and Bharat. It's like that. Vashishji also got angry. And everybody joined. But at the end of Ayodhya border, Bhagwan says, hold on, you people stay here. I'm going, because beyond this. So there is a very nice, very emotional Bhagwan. There is a shlok here, just before leaving that border of Ayodhya. It's very nice shlok. Bhagwan says, Ayodhyan mukho Shri Madhiman Pranjali Vakyam Abravit. Bhagwan look at Ayodhya and with folded hands like this, does the pranam to Ayodhya and says that, Bhagwan says, an Ashrupurna Mukho, and Bhagwan has tears in his eyes. And then to the pranam to Ayodhya, and then very nice shlok, it says, Bhujamya Udyam Dakshinam. Apne right hand se Bhagwan did bye bye like this. It is the same sentence. Bhujam Udyam Dakshinam. ऐसा भगवान ने उसको जब बाय बाय किया, अश्रुपूर्ण मुखो, आंसू बह रहा भगवान के आंख से, अयोध्या को छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. But he is saying, giving a promise. Punardakshami mata cha pita cha sahasangata. Nivrat vanvas tvam anrano. I'll pay the debt of Bhagwan Dashrath ji, who asked me to do this because of Vardhan. So it's a debt. So I'll pay the debt by staying in Vanvas. When I come back, Punarvakshami Takshami Mata cha Pita cha sasangat. Then I'll come back to you and I'll see you again with Mata, Pita, all you people. With that, Bhagwan leaves. So then we saw Bhagwan left and Bhagwan went to Prayagraj. Going to Prayagraj, Bhagwan wanted to take the boat, and the famous Kevat Prasang we saw. Very nice one line we'll read from Tulsidas ji, right? So Bhagwan, after Kevat gave them the ride, they crossed the Ganga, and Kevat says, Bhagwan says, you take your, whatever charges are there, right? Because you're doing this labor, right? So here the charge. Kevat said no. So Bhagwan says, you have to take something. So Kevat says, very nicely, Ab kachu nath na chahi more, deen dayal anugrah tore. He says, Bhagwan, no, I have seen you now. There is nothing needed, right? There is no charge for this. Aapko dekh liya and then that's it. So all this is, but he's a bhakt. So he put a condition there, right? Bhakt has authority to adhikari to put the condition. So he put a condition there. He said, I don't want anything right now. I got enough. But he says, Phirati bar mohi jo deva, so prasad mein sir dhari leva. When you return, because you're going to Anva 14 years, when you return, again you come back the same path. That time I'll take it, whatever will give. And I'll keep that on my head, whatever. So he has given a condition to Bhagwan that while returning, and we'll see when Bhagwan returns, he's to stop there. Because he promised, that is Bhakt's demand, that you come back, you when return, that time you give me. Right now you go. That's right. So that's what we saw, very emotional Kevat and Bhagwan's interaction, and that is Bhakta and Bhagwan's interaction. So it is all about Bhakta and Bhagwan, most of the. So now we'll move forward. So now we saw Bhagwan left, and now Bharatji came back from his Nana's place. And there is a whole episode of Bharat and Kaikeyi. Bharatji is so angry, and of course Shatrughan. Shatrughan actually started yelling, and in fact, physically, he wanted to torture Manthara. And Bharatji also, he used very harsh word toward Kaikeyi. Then what did you do? I mean, you made my life not worth living by just asking for me. You sent Bhagwan, Bhaiya to brother Sri Ram to Vanvas, and then the whole episode is there. Then Bharatji said, okay, now that's fine, but now I want to go to see Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is by the time Bharatji came, Bhagwan has moved to Chitrakoot. And they cross Ganga there. Chitrakoot is a place right now also. Beautiful place. I had been there. So Bhagwan says, we'll stay in Chitrakoot. So there was a mountain, Chitrakoot, even now it is there. Bhagwan went and created, Lakshmanji created a hut and all those things, and they are staying. So Bharatji said that, okay, I want to go and meet Ramji, because I don't want to sit on this throne. I mean, it is Ram's throne, but this duty is given to me, but I want to see him. So Bharatji goes all the way, and then with Bharatji, again, the people say, we want to come, and a lot of people join. In fact, Mataji's also joined, all three, Kaushalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. So there is a wonderful episode of Ram Bharat Milan. We all know that, because Bharatji is another character in Bhagwan Ram's life. which make Bhagwan Ram. It's like that. He's brother and Bhakt together, right? So Bharatji goes to, and so Valmiki Ramayana, we'll see, read from Valmiki Ramayana also a little bit so Bharatji, when he was walking toward Chitrakoot and he saw that Bhagwan's Parnakuti, we call it. Parnakuti means made of the grass or wood, whatever is available in the forest. So he saw that. A very nice, Valmiki ji describes it beautifully. He said that the kuti which they were on the door, there were two swords and there are shields. So it is not a kuti of a sannyasi. It is a kuti of course, Bhagwan is Vanvasi, but those Kshatriya brothers. So there are two. So Valmiki ji says that it's so protected. It is so, because there are arrows and there's quickers and then sword, everything outside the kuti, you can see that. So Valmiki ji says, Harisangher anadrasham mrage sim guhame. He said it was so like protected and fortified as if so that no enemy can enter that. You can see that all this belonged to of course, Vanvasi, but a great warrior. So he says, Mrage Siha Guhame, like Mrag means the deer, as if deer cannot enter lion's den or lion's cave, because deer knows that it is lion's cave, right? Similarly, this kuti is like lion's cave. So ordinary people cannot even go there. So Bharatji saw that. And then Bharatji ran to people, and it says very beautifully that in the center he saw Bhagwan Ram is sitting there. And he said, oh, here's my brother. So there is a very nice shlok here, right? Bharatji is saying, Manimittamidam dukham prapto ramo sukhochitah Digjivitam Nasansasya Mamaloka Vigarhitam. He says, because of me, Bhagwan is facing this suffering, this limitation. He is like a Vanvasi, he is staying in a little hut. He should be in the Ayodhya palace, right? So it is because of me. So my life is not worth living. So that's what he is cursing himself, cursing. So there is a shlok. Then he said, Dukha Vitapto Bharato Rajaputro Mahabala Uktva Aryeti Sakrada Dinam Punor Navach Kinchana. He says, hey, Arya means the bade people, like the elder people we see in that, they call it Arya. So he just yelled Arya and fell down before he reached to Bhagwan. He fell down actually, not even before reaching Bhagwan. And then Bhagwan saw that. But very nicely, Tulsidas ji has put it in a very beautiful way. So let me read one from Tulsidas ji's, right? Tulsidas ji, as we saw that Tulsidas ji always making things, it's like a script, like the screenplay. So he says, so here the same thing he's saying, that Bharatji, before reaching, he fell down. So Tulsidas ji has described a scene. I'll just describe you and you can imagine that. Beautiful. Tulsidas ji is a wonderful script writer, right? The Katha. So what Tulsidas ji is saying, Bharat was running towards Bhagwan Ram. Same thing. Before he reached, he fell. Out of emotion, he fell. Hey, hey, bhai, like that. So now Lakshman ji standing facing Bhagwan Ram, because Lakshman ji's duty was to just face Bhagwan Ram. So Tulsidas is describing very well that Lakshman is facing Bhagwan Ram and he heard, hey, Arya. So he could see, oh, this is Bharat's voice. So that means Bharat is here, because he saw that Bharatji is coming. So now, Tulsidas is described, right? So mili na jai nahi gudrat banai, sukavi lakhan man ki gati banai, rahe rakhi seva par bharu, chadi chang janu khech khilaru. So now Lakshmanji wanted to see back, because Bharat is on the ground, like he could see that he fell, saying Arya. But he cannot turn his face towards Bharat because Bharat is behind. But he is facing Ramchandraji. So then Lakshmanji says to Bhagwan Ram that, hey Arya, now Bharat is doing pranam to you. And then Bhagwan look at Bharat and Shatrughan, both are doing pranam. So Tulsidas ji is saying the scene is so good, very nicely. So he says, Saume kumati kaho keti kehi bhati. Tulsidas is saying, I cannot describe more than this. We can just imagine, if you close our eyes, look at here Bhagwan Ram sitting, and Bharat is on the floor with that Ashrupurit, like he is tears in his eye. Lakshmanji is standing just looking at Bhagwan. He cannot turn his face towards Bharat. And so Tulsidas is saying, I cannot even describe what was that moment was. And then because that is a love of Bharat, Agama Saneh Bharat Raghubar ko. Bharat and Raghuvar, the sneh, the love of between these brothers, I cannot just describe. My language stops here. That's the beauty of the poet also. Tulsidas ji is great poet too. So with that scene, now Bhagwan saw that when Lakshmanji said Bharat ji is saying. So there is a shlok, we'll read what Bhagwan says, right? Shatrughan and Bharat, both they are doing the pranam. Shatrughanaschapi Ramasya Vavande Charanorudana. Tavubhoch Samalingya Ramo Ashrapurna Vartayat. Bhagwan saw them and Bhagwan also had tears in his eyes. And he got up. And there is a description here that Bhagwan's Angavastra fell down. His bow and arrow, what was it, just fell down. Everything just fell apart. And he just rushed and he said, oh, Bharat and Shatrughan. And he had tears and he just hugged both of them together. And that's what Ram Bharat Milan. We see that many times in movies. It's a very, very emotional, very beautiful depiction of the relationship of brothers, which was there always described. But first time Bharatji is appearing here. So far his name came, but this first time, right? So Bhagwan just give a hug to them and Bhagwan says, okay, now Bhagwan asks Bharatji that, how come you're here? Now immediately he realized after once he regained that whole Milan is done, that Bhagwan, how come you're here? So his worry was, what happened? Now there is a shlok, Bhagwan says to Bharat, Kaschinatu dharatetat raja yat tomihat hagatah kaschin dina sahasa raja lokantargat. He's saying, you are here. How is Raja Pitaji is doing? Raja, he says Maharaja, his Pitaji is doing. And he's saying, is it Bhagwan, Pitaji is gone? He says that Raja Lokantaragata, he has left this world. Bhagwan could feel that looking at Bharat's face. And then then Bharat tells to him that yes. So now the next shlok, Bhagwan says, he's asking about Tat Kachit Kaushalya Sumitra Cha Prajavati Sukhini Kachit Arya Cha Devi Nandati Kaikai. He's asking Pitaji is still alive or not. Bharatji has not responded. The next question is asked, how are the Matas are doing? He didn't realize the Mata are also come here. So they are also happy. And then he's asking especially Devi Nandati Kaikai. Is Kaikai Mata is happy or not? So Mitra Kaushalya to pucha hi unhone. See, that is Bhagwan Ram's character. He is not saying anything against Kaikai. We'll see in the entire Ramayana, not a single time Bhagwan Ram has said any word against Kaikai. In fact, Tulsidas ji says also, when Bharatji says, oh, they are also here, Mataji is also here. So immediately Bhagwan said, Pratham Ram bheti Kaikai, Sakala Subhaya Bhaktimati bhei, Pagaparikin Prabodhi Bahori, Kalakaram Vidhi Sir Thari Khori. Sabse pehle Bhagwan, he met Kaikai. First, Pratham Ram bheti Kaikai. First, he saw all mothers, he went to Kaikai first. Because he realized that she has a guilt. And that is what Bhagwan, right? Bhakt goes in front of Bhagwan, there is no guilt. Because that Bhakt Bhagwan relationship is all Anand, there is no guilt. So first thing Bhagwan says, and then what he's saying, Bhagwan, beautiful. He says, Mata, don't worry. Whatever happens, and there is a nice shlok, he say always that it's all God's will, right? Same thing he said, Amb is adhina jagu kahuna dev dosh. We cannot blame anyone for what has happened, Mata. He's saying to Mata, Kaikai, Amb is Adhin. Amb means Mata, is Ishwar. It is all Ishwar's Adhin, right? Adhin. Everything is working as a scripted thing. And that Ishwar knows what happened. So let's not blame any. Kahuna Dehi Doshu. Cannot blame anyone. So he's clear, told Kaikai that there is nothing. That is Ram. So yeah, he met. So now their meeting has happened. Now Bhagwan Ram, we saw in the beginning also. He is Dharma Swarup, right? So he is not forgetting the goal, why he is doing all this. So Bhagwan Ram asked this Bharatji that everything is good. But now he's started asking very, very beautiful question, right? He says, how are you managing the kingdom? Now it comes the governance part. That's the beauty of that. He is not forgetting that there is a purpose also. Bharat Milan ho gaya, he cried, Mata and everything, then he come back to the normal and go. He's asking, how is the kingdom doing? How? So now there are wonderful shlok. I mean, there are many of them. I think these shloks should be read in the parliaments of many, like world parliament. The politicians should read this and see what the governance is. So I'll read few shlok of that. So Bhagavan is saying to Dasharath Bharatji that make sure that everything is good Raj. He said, Sahasranapi murkhanam yadyupasite mahipatah athva api yutan yeva nasti teshu sahayata. He says, even a king, if he has 10,000 stupid ministers around him, they are of no use. Rather than that, he says, Bhagavan says, Eko Atyayo means minister. Medhavi Shuro Daksho Vichakshanaha Rajanam Rajaputram Va Prapyen Mahati Vishrayam. Even one minister, vice minister, who's right with the Raja, the whole Rajan and Rajputram, the entire kingdom, including Raja, Mahati Shriyam, they can enjoy the prosperity, great prosperity. So he says, don't keep 1,000 stupid ministers around you. Just keep even one vice minister, you can enjoy it. So he's giving those lessons to Bharatji. In fact, one more shloka I'll read because we have limited time. So he's saying very nicely, I don't know, this is written thousands of years ago. He's asking Bharatji, Kaschit balasya bhaktam cha vetanam cha yathochitam samprapta kalam datavyam dadasi na vilambase. He says all the army men are being paid on time. There's a whole shlok says that. Cha vetanam, they are giving their vetan, the salaries, yathochitam, properly, on time. He's asking, right? Samprapta kalam, datavyam, na vilambase. You are not delaying their payments. What a wonderful governance. So all these very wonderful shlok, Bhagavan keep Dasharath to Bharatji. Because he wanted to make sure that Bharat is handling the kingdom, so he should have enough understanding. So that goes on. Then Bharatji explains, yes, we'll do that. And then finally, Bharatji again is saying to Bhagavan Ram that, can you come back? I mean, I'm here to take you back. And Bhagavan says, well, I mean, you are here, but I'm not going back because that's a promise, and that's my dharma. So there are multiple shlokas. So there was, and Vashishji also tried, I mean, if you want, you can come back, but Bhagavan says no. So now Bharatji said, Pitaji is no more. So they say, okay, we'll do the Shraddha also. So they did Bhagavan's, Dasharathji Shraddha. Shraddha means that Tarpan they did. And Bhagavan says, I'm not coming. So there was a Rishi in the Ayodhya also called Jabali. Jabali was a Rishi. He was also a Rishi. So he said to Bhagavan Ramji, he said, you are unnecessary delaying, or you are unnecessary, Ram, thinking too much about that. And there is a shlok here. Jabali Rishi says that, Kah kasya purusho bandhu kimapyam kasya kenachita eko hi jayate jantuhu eka eva vinishyati. He says in this sansar, nobody is attacked, and we know that, right? When everybody has to die, he's saying everybody has to go, and there is no relationship. When people go, it's gone. So why are you worried? Raja is gone. You just come back, right? You are unnecessary. Now it's all over. Raja is also gone. So just why don't you? So 3-4 shlok he says like that, right? He says, Gata narpati tatra gantavya yatra tena ve. Raja ko jahan jana tha, wherever he was, like Parlok or wherever, he has gone. So I think, Ram, it is not good on your part to deny. You can come back. So Bhagavan Ram listened to him, and then finally he speaks, right? And Bhagavan says, that is Ram, right? There is a shlok here. Adharmam dharma veshena yadyam lokasankaram abhipatse subham hitva kriya vidhim vivarjitam. He says that whatever lecture you have given, he has given all the logic that this body, we have all those things, like So he says, don't worry, day is gone, you can come back. So Bhagavan is saying, adharma dharma veshena, adharmam, you are saying as if this is a dharma vakya, but it is in the disguise of adharma. And so dharma is that whatever duty assigned to you should be done. That is dharma, Bhagavan is saying. So what you are saying is kind of a Gnostic language. It is a Gnostic thought. Nasti means not just believing in Bhagavan. There is a whole translation, modern translation, that not believing in the right teaching, right Shastra, that is Nasti. It is not just believing in Bhagavan or not. That's a very, very like low level translation, but actually it is not believing in the Shastra or the cosmic rule, we can say that, or Vidhata, it's like that, not particular Bhagavan. So Bhagavan says, now he says that Kama Vrattyon Lokah Kratsnan Samu Upavartate Yad Vratta Santi Rajan Tat Vratta Santi Praja. There is a saying that exactly Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So he's saying, if I break that rule, then others will break too. Lok Sangram. And this destroyed the whole society. So it's my responsibility to do exactly what is said. I mean, so if nobody cares, I can come back. But then what happens to that Yatha Raja Tatha Praja? The word he has used, Yad Vratta Santi Raja, the way Raja conducts, Tat Vratta Santi hi Praja. It's the same way Praja behaves. So Yatha Raja Pratha is a very famous saying, right? As the king, so the subjects. That's what he's saying exactly. So he said, that's why, and he uses the word, right? Satyam eva nashatam churaj vrattam sanatanam. The sat, staying on satya is sanatan dharma. Actually, India's emblem is Satyameva Jayate, exactly what he's saying here. Satyameva Jayate, that is the dharma. So staying on satya. And the Raja Satya Loka Pratishtitam. And Raja's responsibility to establish the satya in this kingdom, or where like the people, where people live. So he says, that's why I'm not going. So now Jabaliji realized, he said, sorry, actually, I just wanted to like test you that you would do that. So Ram says, no, it's okay. So now after this, Bhagavan says, it is all over. Let me do what is assigned to me. There is one beautiful shlok here. Bhagavan says, why I am doing this? Actually, this shlok is a very concise description of Karma Yoga. Karma bhumi mam prapya kartavyam karma yat shubham agnirvayu shomascha karmanam phalbhagine. He's saying, this is my karma bhumi now. And I'll do exactly, and he gives example. This Ramayana and all over thing are full of metaphors. He's giving example of Chandrama and Surya and other planets. Look at what they are doing, their own karma. They are assigned by karma, by Vidhata or whatever, and they're doing it. Chandrama is 30 days to take. So same thing, what I had to do is my karma, and this is my karma bhumi. And then Bhagavan says, so finally they all agreed, and Bhagavan says, okay, now let's move forward. So Bharatji says, okay, now since you're not coming, do me one favor. So Bharatji says, Adhiroharya padabhyam paduke himabhushite ite hil sarvalokasya yogakshemam vidhasyatah. He says, here are two sandals. They are wooden sandals, but they are decorated like glittering gold. Can you put your feet in these two and give it back to me? I'll take them and they will be sitting on the throne, not me. So Bhagavan, Bhagavan is like, he accepts, okay, that's fine. That much I can do. I'm not coming back. But this is what character Ram. This is what wise people like. He's not just rejecting everything. He is rejecting what is adharma. And then, of course, like he said, yeah, that's fine. So Bharatji gave him the paduka. But Bhagwan says one promise to Bharat when they give the paduka. And he says, give me a promise, Bharat. Take the paduka. You can do what? Take this paduka. Mataram raksha kaikayam marosham kurutam prati maya cha sitaya cheva shaptosi raghunandana ikshva itu uktva aparitaksho bhrataram sisarsajah. भगवान के आंख में आंसू आ गए and Bharat ji also has आंसू, but भगवान says, give me a promise, मातरम रक्षक कैकई माँ. especially Kaikeyi. He says, Kaikeyi ma kara dhyan rakhna. And he says, Rosham kuru ma tam prati. Don't be aggressive. Don't yell at her. Don't misbehave with her. So look, this is Ram, right? In spite of all this, one thing he remembers, that there is one person he knows who has all the guilt. Because of one person, this has all happened. And he knows that Kaikeyi is. So he says, Mataram Raksha Kaikeyi ma Rosham Kuru Tam Prati. No rosh against her, no aggression against her, no yell or misbehaving towards her, right? That is the promise you give. And Bharatji gives the promise, does the pranam. And then the story goes that Bharatji took the paduka and went back. Now Bhagwan moves forward. Bhagwan says, you people go back. We have to go forward. So then Bhagwan says, let's move forward. So they go move forward, and then the reason for that, because when Bhagwan, there is a wonderful shloka I'll read. Yeah, we still have to. So Bhagwan says we have to move forward because we are in Chitrakoot and a lot of people are coming now. They come to know that I am here. So it is disturbing all the rishis and all. So let's move from this place. So there is a wonderful shloka. Bhagwan says to Lakshmanji, we have to move from here, Sitaji and Lakshmanji. Ime bharato dashto matarascha sanagarah sache me smritin veti tan nityam anushochitah. Because this place now Bharat came and Mataji came, this is going to remain in my smriti. And I'm going to keep thinking, we are going to keep thinking of them. And there's a nityam anushochita. Every day we'll think of them. And that will stop that whole tapasya vanvasi. So let's move from this place. See, that is what the message here is, right? We stick to something. Sometimes we say I have to remember many things, but there is a saying that remembering many things become that inside there is a whole sansar created, and then we get the rag and dvesh. So Bhagwan is saying you have to leave rag dvesh, leave the thing. So let's leave Chitrakoot. Oh, badhiya Parnakuti, they made everything. He said, leave it, let's go. And they move forward. So they move forward to Atri Rishi's ashram. And that is we know Atri Rishis, right? Yeah. So Sita Anusuya 466. So Atri Rishi's Patni was Anusuya. And there is a story, we all know that it's a very famous story about Anusuya. She was known for her chastity and her commitment towards the husband. So they say Bhagwan, when reached there, Bhagwan tells Sita ji that Sati Anusuya, she's an old lady. It says old lady. Vradha akrodhanam sada. And Atri Rishi says to Sita ji that my wife, she is old, but I have never seen her in any time angry. She is a tapaswini. So why don't you spend some time with her? So Ramji also says, go and spend some time. And there is a whole discussion between Sita ji and Anusuya. And Anusuya was Sati, that's what is famous, right? And there are multiple shlok. We'll not go into each and every shlok, but one shlok I'll read when Anusuya ji is giving a lot of teaching to Sita ji. But one shlok is very nice. She says that Nato Vishishtam Pashyami Bandhavo Vimrasya Shantyaham Sarvatra Yogam Vedehi Tapah Krat Imavyayam. She says, after giving a lot of thoughts, I can tell you, Vedehi, there is no person who can benefit you the most other than your spouse, husband. As he used the word, right? There is no one hitkari, who can look well-wisher for you other than your husband. So and this is, I'm telling after all the tapasya. And she says, when you do tapasya, you get the phal. Similarly, the relationship with your husband is tapasya, and the phal you get is that well-being of two of you, each other. That's wonderful. There's a whole lot of flow, but this is one talks about relationship. That's why Bhagwan told her to see, and then actually she is saying relationship is nothing but tapaha. Tapaha, we know that tapaha is austerity. And we all know these days, even the whole world is fighting that the domestic violence and domestic breakups and everything just because of relationships are broken. So she is saying, Anusuya, that relationship is like tapas. You have to maintain that. And that's what the teaching from Anusuya. And Sati, we know Atri, Anusuya, little digression, but it's related. They were given boon by Bhagwan, so they got a putra. Actually, Bhagwan came in their avatar, in their Putra form, and that is Dattatreya. Dattatreya is one tradition in Bharat, which is Guru Parampara. So Datta Atre, Bhagwan has given that Dan, that Krapa or Vardhan to Atri and Anusuya, that I'll be born in your womb. So Bhagwan took Dattatreya avatar. That's why it's called Dattatreya. Atre Vardhan was given. So, and we know Dattatreya is very, very famous Guruji. There are a whole description in Srimad Bhagavad about, there is a chapter about Dattatreya's teaching. He had 24 gurus and wonderful. There is a whole description in Bhagavad. But that Dattatreya same, Anusuya's putra. So that's what Bhagavan Ram says, spend time with Anusuya and get some teaching. So now, so now they move forward. But now they are going to little bit in that forest further, right? Aranyakand. So Dandakara, now the title given here is, so Ayodhya Kand is over because the Ayodhya chapter is over. Ayodhya Vasis have gone back. Bharat has gone back to Ayodhya. Now Bhagavan says we have to move from Chitrakoot, because Chitrakoot has created memories which will create more Ragadvesh, because we'll remember, oh, Bharat came, oh, Mataji came. So let's move forward. So they won't. So they say, well, then Atri Rishiji and other people, they guided. That's what Bhagavan is doing, a very good networking also. He's meeting a lot of rishis while traveling and asking where to go, what to do. So they suggested go towards Dandakaranya, which is in current time, it is that Maharashtra, Andhra, and MP, east, like southern part of MP, Chhattisgarh, that is Dandakaranya, even now. So Bhagavan says, let's move to Dandakaranya. So they go to Dandakaranya. So when getting into Dandakaranya, Sita ji, and then they met a lot of Rakshans right there. So while going into Dandakaranya, whenever they'll meet the Rakshas, and Bhagwan will definitely kill them. So Sita ji had a little concern about that. So I think we'll spend a few minutes and then stop here, right? Dandakaranya we already read. So Sita ji says, can I ask you a question? Or as a request. So Bhagwan says, okay. So she's saying, wonderful. Like she says, so we always think in the Ramayana and picture the Sita ji is Sita is not just a mute partner. She is equal partner. That's why it is Sita Ramayana. It is not just Ram Ramayana. So Sita ji says to Bhagavan Ram that I know you are the great personality, and the great even sage, higher than the sage, but I have little concern. So Bhagavan says, what is that? So she says, Trine Vyavasan Yatra Kamajani Bhavantyuta Mithya Vakyam Tuparam Tasmad Guruto Va Bhuvo Pardara Abhigamam Vina Vairam Charodrita Mithya Vakyam Nate Bhutam Na Bhavishyati. So she's saying there are three weaknesses a man has. बहुत बढ़िया, very. And the one weakness is mithya vakyam, saying the false, manipulating things. That is first weakness. Second weakness, which is not good, but still there. Second weakness, she says, Bairam Charodrita, means with unnecessary you become wild or violent towards someone else. Man has that weakness. Maybe she is saying so. Valmiki ji said that. And the third one is par dara abhigamam, coveting other spouse. That is the weakness of men. And she says that three weaknesses man has, but I know that you never say lie, so that doesn't, mithya vakyam doesn't apply to you. Par dara abhigaman, it doesn't apply to you because you doesn't look at any other woman. So that, but the third one I am concerned about, because you have weapons, and once you have the weapon, and she tells a story here that once there was a Muni who is in the ashram very quick, and he was doing all tapasya, and the one time Indra came and he said, I'm going somewhere, I have a weapon, can I leave this weapon in your ashram for a few days and then I'll take it back? I said, leave the weapon. So weapon was in his kutia or whatever, hut. Now Indra gone, but now the weapon he is carrying, and he's carrying weapon all over. So just by carrying the weapon, he became slowly violent, attached to the weapon. And his nature changed. From a sadhu, he became like, he's hitting people and all those things. Sitaji says that I heard this story. So I'm concerned about, because you and Lakshman have those arrows and quiver, but you might kill some innocent people because of this forest. So I'm concerned. What a wonderful inquiry. inquiry she has made and her concern also. So, and the whole discussion goes, but Bhagwan says at the end, he says, I have taken a promise, pratigya palan, that to rishis. And if you remember the first teaching, Valmiki ji, when Vishwamitra ji took Ramji and Lakshman ji, Vishwamitra ji asked after teaching Bhagwan that what is the goal of your life? I had taught you a lot of things, right? So what do you want in life? So Bhagwan says, there is a famous look, Go sadhu deshasya hitayacha katyum udyat. Goal of all this teaching is, all he has learned that warfare and everything, astra sastra. The Go sadhu deshasya hitayacha. Go means animals, innocent people. Sadhu means innocent people. Deshasya, the country we belong to, for their protection, I am ready. That's what he is saying. So I made this pratigya. So I am not going to use, don't worry, Sita, but your concern is well taken. And then Bhagwan says, let's move forward. So finally they enter into the Aranya. Aranya means Dandakaranya, the current place is that. So what I think we have, today's time is over. So now next when time we'll meet, Shurpanakha enters here. And then Sitaharan. So next time we'll meet, we'll talk about these, see what Shurpanakha does, and then how Ravan abducts Sita ji. So that, because that's what the key event in the Aranya. And after that, we'll see next will come. So I think we'll continue next time. But we saw this time Bhagwan has met Bharat ji. There was an emotional connection. Then Sita Anusuya ji. And of course, now Ravan enters next. When we meet next time, we'll enter into Ravan. So far, Ravan has not entered into Ramayana, the whole journey. Next time we'll meet, we'll see, talk about Ramayana. Very quickly, Ravan about Ravan and Shurpanakha, of course. And then, so 2 minutes, and then we'll do our dhyan. We'll sit for dhyan. So Ravan is a word which has a root in Rav. Rav means a sound or a cry, a lot of, but it's a roar. It's a big sound, Rav. So from there he was given, it is mentioned in some of the reading that his name was Dashgriv when he was born, or Dashanan. But Bhagwan Shiv gave him name Ravan, because when he lifted the mountain Kailash, he just made a big roar. So Bhagwan gave him name Ravan. So it was given by Shivji. So look at, and then there is the name Ram. Both have the same first start, right? Ram. But Ram has the root in Ram, Ramati, which is pleasing, which gives Anand, and Rav, which creates the fear in the mind when the thunder or sound. That's what Ravan was known for. So that's a contradiction, right? Same now. So far we are seeing Ravan, but Ram and Ravan, the only thing to remove Ravan, the answer is Ram. Because otherwise, if we look at in our life also, all these sufferings and hue and cry, we call it, right? It is all there. It's a vratti we created. Only one answer to that vratti is Ram. Ram, the whole Ramante Janah Yasmin Sa Rama. The people who can enjoy, take the delight in which name, that is Ram. And we all know that, right? We can take a delight in the even simple bhajan, right? Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai. If we say a few minutes, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, I don't know from where the Shanti comes. That's what they say. So that is Ram, right? And same is called the Ramante iti Ram. And same Ravan is reverse of that. So I think that is one reason probably Bhagwan has taken avatar, and Valmiki ji and all our rishis have compiled this for us. That here's the Ravan. And to encounter Ravan, you have to have Ram in our life. And that's what the reason we are reading. So we'll go to our Ram Nam Ramayana, and then next time we'll see Shurpanakha. I wanted, but now I don't think with all this Shurpanakha belongs here. So right now we'll not talk about Shurpanakha. We'll end with Ram only, right? So Shurpanakha will take next time, and we'll not end with Shurpanakha. That's not a good. So that's why I thought I will just. Okay, so we'll go to our Nam Ramayana, and then again Panchatattva Dhyan after this Nam Jap. And very briefly, Nam Jap, our Guruji Dayanand Saraswati ji, he is no more, Ashwita Gurukulam. He has given a wonderful description of tap, jap. And he says like why we take one name and do jap. And the easiest is Ram now. Either Om or Ram. They're the easiest words, right? Either you Om, and Ram is the Charitra also. Om is Parabrahma, right? Nirvikar. So Ram, when we see, we can envision, we can see the Charitra also. Personification also. Same Parabrahma. So what Swamiji says in Jap, and I firmly, whenever I heard him long time back, I just follow. My Guruji used to say the same, but Swamiji has put it in very nice word. He says, all other thoughts in our mind are noodle thoughts. Very nice, Bhagavan Swami says. Noodle thought means, he says, when you eat a noodle, with a fork you lift, all kind of noodles will come. You don't decide. The 10 will come, 15 will come, and you eat, right? No control over. But when you do jap with one name, it is a peanut thought. Swami says, means when you eat peanut, you pick one peanut and eat and finish. The next peanut, eat and finish. So it's very clean. So one naam, that's the reason, pick one name and do the jap. And that is peanut. Peanut thought means what happens when we have noodle thoughts, we're like 1000 thoughts coming. Mind is scattered, and that's what we create stress and anxiety and dopamine, all those things, neuroscience. But when we take one naam and do the jap, automatically mind quietens and we get serotonin, or I don't want to get into that, but yes, we get all those happy chemicals released. And then after naam jap, when we sit for dhyan, not in dhyan happens. We don't have to do too much practice. That's why naam jap is a shuddhikaran. Antakaran shuddhi happens, and then once antakaran shuddhi is happened, then when whatever we contemplate on or we focus on, that comes in our dhyan, and that becomes dhyan. So we don't do dhyan separately. So but that's what naam jap, and then panchatattva dhyan, we do that, and then after that Bhagwan takes over. We don't have to worry too much. Bhagwan says to Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, Yukta asit matpara. Just do Arjun that much. Clean your antakaran and Yukta asit, sit, engage in my thought, matpara, because I am the ultimate thought. So just engage, Yukta asit matpara. That's Bhagwan's word in Bhagavad Gita. He said, just sit, Arjun, like that. That's it. The rest I'll do. And we know that rest Bhagwan. So let's do that, right? Bhagwan. Naam Ramayana, right? Ram Ram Jaya Sita Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Sita Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram.
Shabda Brahma Paratpar Ram.
Shabda Brahma Paratpar Ram.
Kalatmak Parameshwar Ram.
Kalatmak Parameshwar Ram.
Kaushalya Sukhvardhan Ram.
Kausalya Sukhvardhan Ram.
Shrimat Dashratha Nandan Ram.
Shrimat Dashratha Nandan Ram.
Shabari Datta Phalashan Ram.
Shabari Datta Phalashan Ram.
Hanumat Sevit Nij Pad Ram.
Hanumat Sevit Nij Pad Ram.
Samasta Loko Dharak Ram.
Samasta Loko Dharak Ram.
Dharma Sthapana Tatpar Ram.
Dharma Sthapana Tatpar Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Sita Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Sita Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram.
Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram.
You now just keep the focus on the tip of the nostril and bring image of Prithvi Tattva. For us, Bhudevi. Tip of the nostril, slow and shallow breathing. Now, next Tattva is Jal. So shift the focus to the tip of the tongue, which is Rasna, which is one Gyanendri, Rasna or Jivha, through which we interact with Jal Tattva. So bring image of Jal Tattva in mind, like Ganga or fountain or river, anything, and then keep the focus on tip of the nostril, tip of the tongue. The next tattva is Agni. Agni is best like embodiment of Agni or manifestation of Agni, Surya Bhagwan. So keep image of Surya Bhagwan in mind and keep the focus on eyes, because through eyes we see the energy, we feel the energy. So keep the focus, keeping image of Surya Bhagwan and keep focus on eyes. Eye is the third Indriya, Chakshu, and Agni is the third Tattva. The fourth Tattva is Vayu. We cannot see Vayu, we cannot touch Vayu, we can feel Vayu, and we feel Vayu on Tvacha, skin. Skin is the fourth Indriya, Tvacha, and Vayu is the fourth element or fourth Tattva. Feel the Vayu in his skin, on his skin. Inside the room, we can feel the Vayu. Now, next element is space, Akash. We cannot see Akash, we cannot touch Akash. Only way we know Akash because sound travels in Akash. I'm speaking, you're hearing. That means there is a space between two objects. So just through ear, we keep the focus on ear and try to hear some, we can hear some distant sound, but goal is not to hear the sound. Goal is to feel that there is a space around me. There is a space, same space is inside me. All these elements which are outside, they are inside me also. And Bhagavan says, these elements are also my apara prakriti. Now Bhagavan says, this is from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan says to Arjun that you are not these five elements, you are not these five senses. I am not even the man behind these senses. Now at this stage, when all these senses are quietened, the man has very limited thoughts. And there are times where there is no thought. At this time, we can observe the mind. The one who is observing the mind is the Sakshi Chaitanya. That is our true nature. A lot of yogic practices stop here, but for us who are Bhakt, Bhagavan says, Yuktasita Matpara. In this state, bring my thought. So our thought is Ram. Keep Bhagavan Ram in the total consciousness. It is full of Ram. That's why there is a bhajan says, Mere Rom Rom mein basne wale Ram, Jagat ke Swami Antaryami. The Antaryami word has very beautiful Antaryamati iti Antaryami. The who dwells, who pervades in my Antarman, my Antakaran, that is Ram. So in this state, Antakaran is full of just one thought, one tattva, which is Ram. Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Ram Lakshman Janaki, Jai Bole. So next week we'll talk about Shabari also. And then